Hello again and welcome to the War 40k Imperial Guard Tactics video. Now before we get into today's video, I would like to say a huge thank you to Herbert Peppard for sending in some awesome pictures of his Imperial Guard army. I just love a really good airborne colour scheme, Scion style army. It just looks really cool, and I've just been loving all those classic Stormtrooper models you've got mixing in with some of those raging hero models, which are always a treat to see. And overall, I just really like your colour scheme, so thank you, Herbert, for sending in some awesome pictures. And if anyone else has got any cool pictures they want me to use in my videos, then please post them on my Facebook page, or you can email them to me at mordianglorytv@gmail.com. And don't worry if you're an Ogre who hasn't had your bonehead surgery yet, because there will be links down in the description below. But without further ado, let's crack on with today's video. Now today, guys, what we are going to be taking a look at is this sneak preview article that Games Workshop's put out on Warhammer Community regarding some points changes that are coming up in the latest chapter approved. That's going to be chapter approved 2022. And straight away, guys, I'm just going to tell you, looks like it's going to be a good time for the Guard. We've been given, again, a little bit of love. And if you've noticed over, just, I know, straight away going into a tangent, classic Mordian glory. But if you've noticed, over the last few months, Guard has really been drip-fed, really been given just subtle buffs, subtle little adjustments constantly. And it's really helping out our faction. I mean, I know it is forcing us to go down some specific builds, like we are having to go for, you know, Cadians, for example, if we want to run regular Guard, even remotely, competitively. The custom regiment traits are kind of still helping, but, you know, for me, what my experience is, it's Cadian or bust, you know. So we've had the Cadian thing, we've had the balance patch. Now it looks like we're going to have some points decreases for good units as well. You know, we're constantly, we might not have a codex yet, guys, but we're constantly being drip fed little adjustments that I think are having cumulatively a good and big impact. So, with that out of the way, let's jump straight into this. Couple of things just to mention. We don't have the full picture yet. Games Workshop has revealed some points changes, but the implication, the writing in the article, there definitely is an implication that this is not the only points changes coming. I mean, if it was, why would you buy the book, right? So there's some points changes coming. They've got one example for the Guard, and then what we'll also do is we'll go through the examples for the other factions. And the reason we're going to do that is not because we're going to start covering like Death Guard or whatever on this channel, but it will give us an idea of what we're likely to face on the competitive battlefield. So, and you know, what is Games Workshop trying to push us towards? How are they trying to shape the meta? So let's dive in straight away with the Guard's little sneak peek that they've given us. They've made us aware of just one little points change, but I think it's got some big implications. Leman Russ battle tanks are going to be getting cheaper. Now, what they've said is that battle tanks are going to be going down by 10 points. Now, they haven't specified if this is just the regular Leman Russ or if this is tank commanders, if Pask is going to be included in this. We don't know. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a little assumption. And I'm going to go off that they're going to make all Leman Russ hulls 10 points cheaper. Okay, now if that is the case, if that's what they do, that would be really big, because there's no point, and if Games Workshop, if you're listening to this, there is no point in you just reducing the basic Leman Russ battle tank. No one's going to take it anyway. In 8th edition, when you could take a Leman Russ for 130 points, people still weren't taking them. Such is the limitations of ballistic skill 4+ on a unit that is meant to be a heavy hitter, you know. So if they reduce it just for regular battle tanks, this isn't going to have an impact at all. But if they do it on all our tank commanders, on Pask as well, this is going to be really nice. Looking at my list alone, you guys are familiar with my Cadian tournament list. Looking at that, I've got 4 battle tanks in there. You know, I've got Pask 3 tank commanders. If I save 40 points, do you know what? That solves the question that I've been trying to ask myself, trying to answer, which is, how do I make these Sentinels useful in every game? Because I've got 3 Scout Sentinels, but I just run them with multi-lasers, and I really cannot justify, I can't squeeze any more points out of this list. I just can't do it. I've tried it, and it just compromises either the infantry too much, or takes the firepower way too much. I need just some way of making these Sentinels a bit better. If I can save 40 points, then that's heavy flamers and every Sentinel sorted. If I can, you know, drop a single conscript, that's like a las cannon on every Sentinel sorted, you know, and that makes them effective in every single game. If I can put las cannons on my sentinels, then I am looking at overlocking fields of fire, taking advantage of the Cadian, trait by just sitting there and being able to just fire las cannon shots off. Because not every game am I going to want to be anti-alpha striking. Some armies won't have it. But there are going to be, but in those games, it's when I'm facing a shooting army. And multi-lasers don't contribute to my shooty shoot. But you know what would do? Las cannons. That would really, really contribute to my shooty shoot. So, it'd be amazing if I could just say, even on just if that's all that changed from my list, just say 40 points, upgrade those sentinels, and that is the final little adjustment. That's the final distillation of my list. So that'd be fantastic. But one way or another, what Games Workshop have said is that Leman's battle tank is coming down, and the implication in the article is that there is loads of other points changes, loads of other points decreases for vehicles across the board. Not just for, main battle tanks, but they've said half tracks, they've said buggies, they've said bikes, they've said walkers, crawlers, all these kind of things. I mean, we might see sentinels go down by 5 points. We might see chimeras go down by 5 points. We just don't know. It might be all we get is the Leman battle tank, not even tank commander, going down by 10 points. And if we do, then whatever. It literally means fuck all, just whatever, But if we see that all vehicles are going to be getting some decreases, then that is pretty tasty. That would certainly help because, guard feel too expensive at the moment. It really feels like we just don't quite have enough points to get the infantry that we need to cover the tanks. If we take too many infantry, we don't have the firepower to win the firefight, which is what we need to do. So if we could just get like a 5% decrease across the board, if we could just get ourselves an extra 100 points squeezed into our lists, 150, I wouldn't ask for 10%. You know what? I've done being reasonable. If we go a 10% decrease on average across all Imperial Guard lists, that'd be perfect. If I could fit an extra 200 points worth of stuff in, I'm telling you now, my lists, the Imperial Guard, that would be such a breath of life into that army. It's so simple, but it would make such a big difference. That means I could add 40 more infantry. I could upgrade my sentinels, or I could take a Cadian mortar pit and give myself more indirect fire capability. I could add in a couple of artillery pieces. There's loads of things that I could do with 10, with 5 to 10% decrease. So if we can get that, that'd be fantastic. The ironic thing would be, and I reckon, knowing Games Workshop, if GW is going to GW, this is what they'll do. The regular battle tank will go down, then they'll up the price of tank commanders and manticores, and my list will just get totally gutted. Just totally unusably gutted. Even if they increase the points of my list by 50, that's it. That list dies, and I've got to go back to the drawing board. So, I really hope they don't do that. So that's the implication is vehicles are getting cheaper. That's the implication. Now, looking at what they've, sort of highlighted here, they've said that, Space Marine Storm Speeders are going to go down 10 points. I still don't think we're going to see them. Gladiators are going to go down 15 points. Maybe we'll see Gladiators. Still don't think we're going to see them, guys, to be honest with you. Immolators and Exorcists are going down 10 points. Okay. Maybe you see the Immolator. Not sure you'd see the Exorcist. A lot of sister lists that are powerful do rely upon combat more than anything else. But, cheaper Immolators, can't complain with that. Cheaper indirect fire, can't complain about that. Again, depends if anything else goes up. Now, here's a big one. Plague Burst Crawlers going down 15 points. Let me tell you, most Death Guard players were already running 3, at the minimum 2, Plague Burst Crawlers. So the fact that these are going to go down 15 points is actually a massive buff. Okay, it might not seem like a huge amount, but that's potentially an extra 45 points that Death Guard players just got their hands on. That's an extra Terminator. That's an extra mob of, pretty much an extra mob of Poxwalkers. Poxwalkers are really strong at the moment. So being able to save 45 points to Death Guard, I think that's a biggie. And you're seeing a lot of Death Guard at events. It's such a resilient codex. It's settled into such a solid B tier, middle tier position. Any buffs that you give that faction is only going to breathe fresh well, it's Nurgle, so not exactly fresh, but it's going to breathe life into fresh air into that faction. Hemlock Wraith Fighters coming down 20 points. That's a big decrease. But flies being limited. We'll have to see how that plays out with the new Eldar that's coming out. It'd be a bit weird if they got a decrease and the points got diddled again by the Codex coming out. So we'll have to see. Doom Scythe coming down. Night Scythe coming down. All Necrons coming down. I mean, overall, you're looking at Doom Scythe 20 points, Night Scythe 15 points, Doomsday Arc 10 points, Scorpet Destroyers 5 points, some other kind of destroyer 5 points, Locust Destroyers 5 points, Monolith 30 points, Obelisk 40 points, Tesseract Vaults 50 points, and the Silent King coming down 30 points. Necrons, they seem to be getting the bulk of the points decreases now. So we'll have to see if the rest of us get anything. But Necrons are getting a huge decrease. So yeah, overall it's looking like Necrons are going to be coming down loads. Combine that with the fact that they've had loads and loads of core spread across their army. We could definitely see Necrons are going to be coming around in a big way. Apparently they're going to be really changing the way that soup works, that you're not going to be able to soup anything at all in your army. If that's the case, that might rein Necrons in a little bit because they're really powerful because of their soup. But, that's their most powerful build, I should say. But I think this points decreases we're seeing is big. Really, really big. So I think we're going to see Necrons get some significant life. I've said that a few too many times. And they don't really have life, do they, Necrons? You're going to see them hitting the tabletop more often. There you go. Now, some other units that they've given some decreases to. All Death Company variants seem to be going down 2 points. That's pretty big. Mephiston down 15 points. He was already pretty good for Blood Angels, so he's just getting a bit of a decrease. Dark Angels, the Jet Fighter and the Dark Talon coming down 15 points each. Interesting. Keep my eye on that one. I'm not sure. Let me know down in the comment section below, but I'm not so sure if they're going to be fielded much anyway, but we'll see, I suppose. Dark Angels, Black Knights, 5 points. That's pretty tasty. If you're running Dark Angels, you are typically going to go down the Deathwing route. But having access to a cheaper Ravenwing is certainly not a problem. It might just encourage those players who have got a full bike army to hit the tabletop a bit more often, which would be nice. That'd be really good. Space Wolves coming down 2 points. Thunderwolf Cavalry coming down 5 points. Okay. Space Wolves, I should say. Wolfen coming down 2 points. So... yeah, that's okay. I mean, I know Space Wolves do appear on the competitive scene, but I've not faced them myself personally, so I would hesitate to comment on it. But Wolfen, yeah, whenever I do see Space Wolves, I don't see Wolfen and I don't see Thunderwolf Cavalry, so it's probably a good thing they're getting a bit of a decrease. The Corvus Blackstar coming down 15 points. Corvus is a fantastic flyer, so. Yeah, absolutely. If that coming down is going to be quite a big buff for the Death Watch. Now, some units that are going up in points, what we're seeing is Primaris Chaplain on bike going up 10 points. That's going to be in response to Black Templars running around with the indestructible Primaris Chaplain. You've got the Volkite Dreadnought. Now that's going up 10 points. Now it says all Volkite can tempt a Dreadnought with Volkite covering 10 points. Now it doesn't seem like a lot, but it says Volkite covering singular. So if they're running dual Volkites, that could be a 20-point increase. And if they're running a 20-point increase, then they're still great. They're still only 170 points. But over the course of, if someone's spamming 3 of them, that is going to be a 60-point chunk taken out of their army. So, yeah, I mean, let's hope it's 10 points per Volkite. I mean, if it's be crazy if it's like 10-point increase per Volkite. So if you're running like a quad Volkite Dread, it goes up by like 40 points. That would be insane. I think it should go up 20 points, but 10 points is... If it only goes up 10 points, it's just a waste of time. You're still going to see people spam them. Now, then you've got Nemesis Dread Knights going up 10 points. I don't think that's a huge deal. They're still fantastic, and we'll have to see if that affects the Grandmasters as well. But I've had some I don't know. I've heard some chit and chat around the water cooler. Some Grey Knight players I know are like, oh, my Dread Knights are dead. So I don't know if they were just being silly because it's not a huge increase and they were being sarcastic. But I don't know if a 10-point increase is massive. I mean, it's like what across you take 3 or 4 of them, you just drop a couple of strike marines, you're good to go. I don't know. We'll have to see, obviously. Then there's a Forge World Knight. I do the Forge World Baby Knight with lightning locks going up 5 points. Yeah, I think that I'm not encountered those myself again, so would not want to comment on that. But let me know down in the comment section below if you know if that's a biggie. But 5 points doesn't seem huge. Death Guard Foul Blightspawn going up 15 points. Now that's pretty big. Every time I face Death Guard at a tournament, they've had one of these bozos and he's been horrendous to deal with. So him going up 15 points is pretty significant. Maybe we won't see him anymore, but I suspect he's so good that even with 15 points, he just goes to being great rather than unbelievably great. So we'll see. The biggie is Hive Guard going up 5 points per model. Now that means that you're looking at 90 points across an army. Now, if someone is, because that's if someone's spamming, is spamming all of the Hive Guard. 90 points across an army is pretty significant. It definitely means you could be looking at people running like 15 instead of 18, which you might not think is like a huge difference, but that is like a roughly 15-16% decrease in that list's firepower. It might mean that people will switch out of Hive Guard. I'm not sure. I still think Hive Guard are oppressive, but I've had a game against Nids this week. My opponent had Hive Guard, and I managed to beat him. In fact, I managed to table him. So that's pretty... Hive Guard are good, but if you're able to get the first turn on them, or you're able to, survive their barrage, you can beat them. I've not lost a Hive Guard spam yet with Guard. It's just flat damage 3 manticles, just pick them up by the handful. So we'll have to see. But I think an increase of 5 points across the board is pretty significant for the old Hive Guard. I think they're not going to be enjoying that at all. And then a couple of point increases for Orks. Rocket Truck Squig Buggy going up 20 points, so it's you're just flogging a dead horse at this point. I mean, Ork's still really strong, but you're just absolutely crushing. Or Guido was doing its best to absolutely just rein in Rocket Truck Squig Buggy spam. We'll have to see if it's still a problem, but I suspect that it's starting to get to we're getting to that tipping point now. And then the Beast Boss on Squigosaur up 30 points, which seems massive, but he was an auto include. You saw him in every single list, so we'll have to see. But 30-point increase on that guy seems really high. But again, I'm well open to being told, no, it's not enough. You need to be up another 30 points. You need to be up 60 points. If that's the case, let me know. So that's where we are overall for these points changes. I have got my fingers, my toes. I've got fingers on all 3 of my arms and on my toes and everything. I've got everything crossed that Guard are going to get sweeping decreases to our vehicles. I'm really and everything. If everything can just come down by, like I said, 10%. If we can have our infantry go down to 50 points. If we can have our conscripts go down to 4 points a dude. If we could have our Chimeras come down 10 points. If we could have our Leman Russes come down 10 points. If we could have our Hellhounds come down 15 points. Hydras 20 points. Manticores come down 5-10 points as well. They're good, but it's not good enough. Basilisk should be 100 points. Sentinels should be like 25 points. Everything should just come down. Everything should just come down. And if that happens, then I'm happy to sit here for the first 6 months of 2022 and just be like, okay, I haven't got a codex, but I've got just so much stuff now. I'm happy. Games Workshop, if you do that, I'll be buying and building and painting Guard again. If you don't do that, then I'm probably going to be playing Bolt Action still. So we'll have to see how it goes. But anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. If you've heard any rumours or have any more further points leaks or anything like that, put it down in the comment section below. always good to share more information. If you've got any thoughts on the current points changes and whatnot, let me know. But without further ado, we'll end this video. Thank you for watching. As always, before I finish, I want to say a massive thank you to the Patreons. It is thanks to the Patreon supporters that this channel is where it is, that I'm able to go to tournaments. I've got one at the end of this month. I've got another one in May. So I've got load March today, another one in May. So it's thanks to the Patreons that I'm able to stay on the competitive edge, hit the tournament scene, and do these kind of videos and do them based on informed stuff, not just theory crafting. So massive thank you to the Patreons. You guys are legends. And if anyone's interested in becoming a Patreon supporter, there's a link down in the description below. We'll leave it there, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. And of course, I'll see you guys next time.